Hello, fabulous superstar Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of July 2018, looking at life and love. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing month it is. We have an active sky playing out right now, and we have a sky of great promise, of great possibility, and for you in particular, great blessings. In fact, of all the zodiac out there this month, I do think that you are going to consider yourself one of the most blessed, especially with a month like this. So what is happening this month? A few very special things, but ultimately what it really comes down to can be summed up in two words, and that is eclipse season. Officially, we start eclipse season this month, but it isn't just about that, because normally eclipse season lasts about 2 weeks, right? We get two eclipses back to back, about 2 weeks apart. And it opens up a time that the ancients said was essentially a portal where the veils between the worlds were especially thin, and making it that much easier to connect with wisdom, whether it's the wisdom of your ancestors or the wisdom of your own inner wisdom. And one way that plays out is being able to see the spiritual lessons playing out in your life a little bit more clearly, not getting so caught up in the illusion that can be our mundane circumstances, because ultimately these circumstances, they manifest so that we can learn some deeper spiritual truths about ourselves and ultimately move ourselves towards greater love and greater wisdom. Well, what is happening this month is very karmic, I must say, because it isn't just about this 2-week portal of time, but we're getting 3 eclipses back to back to back, which means that eclipse season right now is going to last about a month. And the third eclipse, the final eclipse that takes place as part of this series, is going to happen next month. So of course, I'll be here to talk about it as we go along and once we get there. But for now, this month in particular has 2 powerful eclipses. Now, it's the first eclipse that I'm especially excited about for you. This eclipse is happening in fellow water sign Cancer, but that's not it. This eclipse is connecting with other power players in the sky, and it is setting up what is called a grand trine. And a grand trine is essentially a symbol of supremely harmonious and fortunate energy. And this is a solar eclipse speaking with Neptune and Jupiter in your sign. Now, right around this eclipse, Jupiter will stand still in the sky and move forward. Stand still in your sign and move forward. So Jupiter's been retrograde the last few months, and with Jupiter in your sign, it tends to be a time of greater blessings, expansion in every kind of way. However, when Jupiter's retrograde, the process goes a little bit more inner, understanding what you need to do and where you need to change to align with greater blessings in your life. Well, now as Jupiter moves forward right at eclipse time, well, what it tells me is that this sense of the blessings finding you is going to be that much more magnified. Now, in addition to all this, if all of that wasn't enough having to do with this eclipse, having to do with Jupiter in your sign, Pluto is standing across the sky from this eclipse, which tells me that there's a lot of power and a lot of intensity, your modern ruling planet intimately involved with this eclipse. Something about what transpires is going to feel very right to you and is going to reach the heart of you at that. So this eclipse is happening for you in a part of the sky that has to do with a few different things, including long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters as well. All of that highlighted with this eclipse for you. Now, eclipses essentially are considered very karmic. They are about aligning your life and the universe working overtime to align your life with a higher, more loving vision for your life. Sometimes that comes about in ways that can be dramatic. Sometimes they can come about in ways that can feel a little easier. Well, with this particular eclipse in the early part of the month, right around the 12th, depending on where you are on the planet, this is going to be energy that works that much easier with you, that you're able to access in a way that inspires you, that brings healing, that brings hope, and also focus as well, determination as well with that Pluto involved. And so here we are. We have this eclipse happening, and a few ways this is going to play out. This is a solar eclipse, which is new beginnings, fresh opportunities. And you may find that quite karmically or quite surprisingly, the opportunity to travel does come up at this time. You may also realize where it is that you truly want to be and start an immigration or citizenship process for yourself, or feel a sense of having more fully rooted yourself in a new sense of national identity, if you will, or national alliance, if you will. Any trip that you take at this time will be deeply spiritually significant. So again, the opportunity could come up very much by surprise, but there's something very karmic about it. There's a place that you need to be. Now, the other areas have to do with higher education. New opportunities in higher education can show up, whether it's the opportunity to go back to school, the opportunity to excel in a higher education environment, whether you work there or are a student there. These can go exceptionally well for you now. Again, lots of determination for positive change will transpire at this time. And you may find yourself feeling a sense of a fresh start, going through some sort of a transformation as part of your educational journey or your journey within this Institute of Higher Learning. And of course, legal matters as well. New things can come up at this time that ultimately propel you forward and have an element of blessing with them as well. This part of the sky also has to do with understanding your place in the world, your philosophical orientation, your spiritual values as well. And that can also go through a profound change at this time, where you're introduced to a whole new way of looking at the world, and one that resonates very deeply within you and within your soul. Now, the second eclipse that takes place this month is happening at the very base of your sky, in a part of the sky that has to do with home and family of origin. Now, there are a few interesting things happening with this eclipse. It's very different in nature, in tone, and its characteristics as well. So what is taking place with this eclipse? Well, first of all, it's a lunar eclipse, which has to do with closing karmic ties, ending karmic chapters, and really knowing what served its purpose in your life. The other part of this is that there are different planets speaking with this eclipse than that first one. First of all, it's happening very close to Mars in the sky. Now, Mars, your ancient ruling planet, retrograde all month. If you have the Mars retrograde season special, whether that is as a superstar, whether that is through my website, this would be a time to watch that again, or watch the May horoscope again, because I spoke in these videos more at length about what this Mars retrograde season is meant to be for you. You can consider this a high point as part of this larger Mars retrograde season, or at least a point where you come to a deeper understanding of what the lessons are of this time, of this summer, particularly for you. There's a sense at this time that you want change to happen, but because Mars is retrograde, there may be a need to reflect a little bit more deeply. This can also be a time when you are getting another look. What felt right for you at one time, you are seeing very differently right around this eclipse. Now, you add to it Uranus speaking with this eclipse. There's that surprise factor as well. It's almost as if you are having a revelation, an epiphany about what is happening for you at the home front. So here are some ways that I see this showing up for you. Buying, selling, moving, new roommate can happen very quickly, very suddenly, okay? So just keep that in mind. And I just think that you will know if that's the path for you. You will know if that's the thing that feels right for you. The other part of this is understanding home differently, understanding your past differently, like all of a sudden having an epiphany about where you've been, about your past, and seeing it differently can also happen at this time. Keep in mind the people who are around your home, sometimes family members, like particularly your family of origin, your parents possibly, if that applies and if they're still with us. This can be a time when emotions seem to run very high as well, or at the very least, you may need to be present very quickly. That's okay as well. The thing is that ultimately what this energy is saying to me is that you get another look. You get to examine your past and examine those very first relationships, those very first connections you had with people. You get to see it in a different light. And ultimately, Uranus. This eclipse can also speak to those of you who work from home or with homes. That may also be part of this energy as well, where you will find a lot of changes taking place on that front, or a need to just do more or be more present or address some, maybe a very surprise situation that may come up. All of a sudden, you've got to look at your website. Something about the website isn't working properly. That can absolutely happen with this energy. If your work is in any way online and from home or with homes, it's that much more likely that you just want to make sure all your credit cards are update where it comes to like your host and things like that, right? Just make sure you have all that addressed, because it can feel a little bit like a surprise factor where it comes to your website, where it comes to technology as well. And so this would be a good time to make sure everything is backed up, everything is super password protected and taken care of, because these are some details that you may want to pay attention to that can be part of the surprise as well. The other thing is just your role and what it is that you need to do may go through a transformation, or a very quick need for you to bring forward new skills may come about at this time as well. Now, where it comes to matters of love, right? Comes to matters of love. Look, Uranus is in your opposite sign. I spoke about this at length in your Uranus special horoscope. But here's the thing. Uranus, newly in your opposite sign, speaking with Mars in a rare retrograde season. Mars, of course, being your ancient ruling planet, as I said. Well, what this tells me is that it's very possible that love and home in some way are having to adjust. If you are someone who is open to meeting someone new, keep in mind with this energy, not the time to let a family member set you up on a blind date or to hook you up with anybody. Also, I would say this can be very surprising news where it comes to somebody from your past, especially like the long ago past, that person that you were with for a really long time. That is where some news can come up that does take you by surprise. This is also where you could meet somebody who is from wherever it is that you consider home. So whether it is your country of origin, if that's what you think is home for you, if you think a city is home for you, they're from that city. If they're a neighborhood that you think of as home, because people think of a home as very differently. It's a deeply personal definition. Well, in some way, you may connect with somebody who represents that sense of home or is from home. But keep in mind that, they could really be a surprise a minute. They may know people that you didn't realize they knew, and it ends up being a little bit of a tangled but interesting, very interesting stories can transpire as a result. Now, if you are in an established bond, this can absolutely bring changes on the home front. And so if it is that you already live with your partner, they may very well be part of the motivation to make change. It could very well be them and some changes in their circumstances that shows up for you that now, okay, you've got to address this, and it may involve moving. It could be that they get a job offer or something from far away, and now you've got to think about, okay, are we going to move, and how quickly are we going to do this? If you're not living with somebody just yet, but you are in an established bond, this is going to bring with it some very quick developments as to whether or not that is going to happen. Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen ever? Well, you'll get a lot more clear about that this month also. What I love about this month for you is it's got to be that first eclipse, right? That first eclipse is so fortunate. And look, I know it can sound a little bit serious, all the very impulsive energy that is taking place with the second eclipse. But here's the thing, with all that is good that is happening for you in the middle of the month, with Jupiter moving forward with this sense of possibility, with this sense of the world opening to you, well, I think that you are going to carry forward those blessings, and you'll be able to navigate whatever transpires that much more easily and that much more to your advantage as well. Because ultimately, here's the thing, you of all people, your sign is the one that understands the essentials of life, that is truly connected to what it is that really matters. And with Jupiter in your sign, what matters is your happiness, and that you have. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this every week by logging on to astrofabulous.com or nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive video scopes every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space, special horoscopes on my website as well. I look forward to meeting you there. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.